Oh, wow. We're live on LinkedIn. You get me in the morning hours, 9 o'clock before the shower. Still got the hat on. You should see what's under this. It's not good. In addition, like live TV, right? The show goes on. So you'll see various pets around behind me. There's a little cat right here who likes to walk across my desk from time to time. So he may make a cameo. His name is Kevin. Say hi if you see him. All right. So I am streaming on LinkedIn and YouTube right now through a service called StreamYard. And I've been using StreamYard for a couple of years off and on, and it gets better and better all the time. So the one thing that I end up with is when I go back and check the video after the live is completed, I often find that there's comments there that aren't showing up on StreamYard. So if you leave a comment and I don't comment on it, my apologies for that, but sometimes I can't see the comments that you're leaving, so sorry about that. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about innovative ways for financial advisors to build their email database. Let's talk about the importance of email database first. Why would you want to build your email database? Well, statistically, email is head and shoulders above social media for an ROI. Maybe outside of our industry, the research you do will say that for every dollar you spend on email marketing, you can expect a $36 to $42 return on that investment. That's not going to be the same within financial services, but to suffice it to say, highly effective way to stay in touch with prospects, to track statistically who is resonating with your messages, and distracted by cats, and to follow up with the right prospects and understand how to personalize your communication with them so that you're talking about topics that are interesting to them. When we finish up here, before we finish up here, we'll probably go about 15 minutes. It's not going to be real long. Before we finish up here, I'm going to show you an email strategy that we use at Social Advisors to book calendar meetings fairly consistently. It's really a two-step email strategy. And full transparency, I'll show you, all the strategy and all the statistics behind it. Leveraging email to, again, understand better what people are interested in, and then following up with their activity on that email so you can speak specifically to them. And that tends to get a better call to action rate than what just putting a book now type button in your email gets. So with all that, give me one moment. Bear with me for a second while I figure out the screen share capability here. I've used it before, but it may have been a while. Okay, present. Cool. Give me one sec while we do screen share. That's the one I'm looking for. So we might fumble through this a little bit. So you're looking right now at Canva, where we built out a slide deck. If you guys are still building slide decks in PowerPoint, don't do that anymore. Canva is so inexpensive, and it's so good for design. And when you build a deck or anything else in Canva, you can export it as an appropriate document. So, for example, I can export this document as a .pptx. So it's so much easier, and you've got so much more flexibility in your building. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to click through a dozen or so different strategies that you can incorporate into building your email list. I highly recommend that you are very purposeful with building this email list. It is our most important marketing asset, and it can quickly become your most important marketing asset also. So first, website opt-in forms. Now, this is pretty common, right? So if you look at your website and you've got the contact form at the bottom, maybe you've got a newsletter form. We'll talk a little bit later about having items for download available, lead magnets, if you will. Having forms embedded in your website, that's very important. Now, how this relates to your CRM. Right. So this form, for example, on any website would actually be a form that's generated out of the CRM that you use for marketing and prospecting. I do not typically recommend that you use the same platform, i.e. Wealthbox or Redtail, for your clients and for your prospects. I typically recommend that you use a separate platform for prospecting. There are some great platforms out there with a ton of automation flexibility. If you've got questions about that, all you've got to do is shoot me a DM on LinkedIn, and I'll get back to you. We love a platform called Go High Level. It does everything we need it to do, including building out landing pages, running our lead magnets through it, running our marketing automation through it. All of our emails go through it. It does have a CRM component. It's got a visual pipeline. It's pretty great, and the price point is a couple $100 a month. So for the price point, it is the best platform I know of. So when you embed these forms on your website, make sure that they are integrated with your CRM so that any form that gets filled out, we can pre-write the communication and the tracking that needs to be in place. But get forms on your website, specifically high traffic pages. What's that? The home page, the blog page, your resources page, maybe even the About Us page, right? So if people are wondering who you are, maybe they can download a guide from you or something along those lines. So, okay, moving on to the next step, promote educational webinars. Now you see this if I show up in your feed at all, if you're on our email list somewhere, you see that just about every month I'm promoting an educational webinar. This is really, really effective for doing two things: growing your email list like we're talking about, but also the trust transfer in your guests. So while an educational webinar is great, if you can bring a guest on that influences the same type of people that you want to influence, that's even better, right? So last year, my buddy Matt and I did a webinar together. We marketed it. Matt got reach into our network. Matt marketed it. I got reach into Matt's network. There was some trust transfer that happened with all of that. So it's kind of a helpful situation to grow your email list, to grow your trust. And then, of course, those of you who don't know Matt, get to know Matt. Matt is a podcaster, influencer extraordinaire in our industry, and a heck of a nice guy. Happy to call him a friend. But if you're not already familiar with Matt Halloran, make sure that you get familiar with Matt Halloran. But we try to do one of these a month. It helps expose us to new people and helps expose my friends to our network as well, my friends who have some value to provide. So run educational webinars often. If you have any questions about how to make the most of that educational webinar, I can help you out with LinkedIn events, and topics, descriptions, titles, how to set up your Zoom meeting. I've done a lot of these, so make sure you hit me up in the DM. We can spend 30 minutes together, and I'll help you get familiar with that particular product. So, all right, now I really can't see any comments coming through because while I'm sharing my screen, I can't even see StreamYard. So, if you got comments, I'll attend to those after our live stream here. So, downloadable resources on your website. So this is a snapshot of our resources page on the Social Advisors website. We've got 10 or 12 different resources that people can download. Now, when you hit the download button, come to our website, you hit the download button, 20 questions that warm up cold connections. Listen, that's a great one, right? If you're trying to convert connections on LinkedIn or in your email into, build some rapport and convert them into a prospect, that's a great one. How to engage with your audience along the same topics, but we've got resources on running a webinar, the right CRMs to use, email marketing, a variety of things on the website that help with prospecting and business development for advisors. So this then, when you click the download button, goes to a landing page with a form. You've seen these before. And then you enter your name and email address. That then feeds the CRM, and you can get some follow-up email there, all automated. Obviously you got the option to unsubscribe if you choose to, but I find that the unsubscribe rate on this stuff is really, really low. So it's a super effective way to grow your email database. All right, promote your newsletter on social media, right? We talked first about having forms on your website. The forms are important. One of those forms is sign up for our newsletter, one of the common forms that you see on advisor websites and other businesses and professional services, of course. Sign up for our newsletter. Well, you can promote this newsletter elsewhere. So feel free to promote your newsletter in social media as well. And that's going to help you attract new email addresses. Okay, reach out to a key LinkedIn connection. You guys, here's what's cool. And I will tell you the stats behind this because I do a lot of it. When you connect with somebody on LinkedIn, 90 or 95% of the time, that person is going to provide a wealth of contact information. 90 or 95% of the time, their email address is there. I grabbed my buddy Lawrence here because, well, he gives us all his information, right? He's got his website, his phone, his business address. So as far as Lawrence is concerned, you can really wrap up your entire your entire CRM contact information. Now you got to be really careful and really personal with this, right? So when you send an email out to Lawrence, I want that to say something like, "Hey, Lawrence, awesome to connect with you on LinkedIn. I thought I'd send you an email. It's just an easier way to get, to get familiar with each other. I hope you don't mind from time to time I send informational emails out. It's not my intent to fill up your inbox. By all means, if this isn't interesting to you, go ahead and unsubscribe." Ask them to unsubscribe. You will find out that your open rate on that email will exceed 65%. Your unsubscribe is going to be less than 5%. So when you connect with somebody on LinkedIn, send them a personal email. Don't be pitchy, nothing like that. You are there to build rapport and relationship. This stuff takes time. If you try to race to the finish line, you're going to destroy any opportunity you might have in the future before it even begins. So just be very personal. Focus on rapport and relationship, and understand that if you've got a consistent email strategy, these people will book appointments with you in the future. If you don't ruin that now. All right, clicking on networking events and seminars. This is old hat for you guys, right? A lot of advisors I knew came up on seminar selling. So obviously, much of the value of networking events is the connections that you make. Get those people into your CRM. When you do, send them a nice, introductory email. Great to see you at the event. Enjoyed talking about this and that. And just again, let them know that from time to time you provide information via email. If that's not interesting to them, by all means, you don't want to fill up their inbox. But in case it would be a benefit to them, they get that information in their inbox maybe once a month or as often as you're sending out email. So networking events and seminars, save those business cards. I know business cards are going by the wayside, but add people to your phone, click and connect on LinkedIn. So, all right, interactive tools on your website. This is a big one, right? This is a big one. Remember the risk number? It's probably still out there on a lot of websites. This is a really great way for people to provide information on your website in exchange for things like your risk number, things like your financial calculator. If you can use interactive tools on your website, that's a great way to get a steady flow of email addresses into your CRM. Now, again, we'll go back to something I said earlier. Make sure the forms and the documents and the tools and the calculators, make sure those are all baked into your CRM so that you're capturing that information. And with the automation built into most CRMs today, you can deliver your messages without a whole lot of effort. So, all right, speak or sponsor an event. We do a lot less sponsorship today than we used to at Social Advisors. One of the great benefits that came from sponsoring early in the company's carnation was the ability to get a list of attendees. So whether that's a local event, whether that's a larger event in a pertinent industry to your practice, sponsoring events is a good way to get very familiar with people, to get your brand out there, but also to get a collection of email addresses for ongoing communication and conversion. So when you have an opportunity and when it's within the budget, sponsor an event. By all means, be looking for those speaking opportunities. That's great for your brand. Really set you up, as an expert in the eyes of the attendees and the people you're speaking to. Also, a great way to capture business cards after your presentation or your speech. So, always be looking for speaking and sponsorship events. Okay, moving on to the next one. Email or online community signature. So, like Marquise here, and of course that's something I grabbed off Google real quick to make my point. Ideally, that icon at the bottom, check out our recent blog post. That can say something like "sign up for our newsletter." Let your email signature, or if you're in an online community and you build out your profile, give people the way to get to one of those forms on your website right from your signature. For those of you doing video, we've seen a screen that looks like this at the end of YouTube videos in a lot of cases, right? And it's oftentimes if you lock your YouTube settings down a little bit, this is promotion of your other marketing assets. promotion of your other videos, could be a promotion of your website, could be a promotion of, again, a form on that website or a lead magnet or a landing page that someone can provide their information. So don't overlook the other content that you're creating. And then I think this is the last suggestion here is online ads to a landing page. If you are not running ads, there's a great case to be made for Facebook and Instagram advertising, perhaps Google Display, perhaps sponsored content across other platforms as well. I'm a little bit leery of Google keywords just because in many cases, your competition is large firms with much larger budgets. And of course, that's an auction space. And those prices for clicks to your website for keywords, they get driven up pretty quickly. So I would look more at Facebook, Instagram, Google Display for my advertising, but advertising someone to a landing page where they get a valuable piece of information, something we would call a lead magnet amongst us. I wouldn't call it a lead magnet to them, but for our practical purposes, we're trying to attract that email address. So there you are with the magnet aspect of it. So here's my contact information. Let me tell you a little bit about what we're doing at Social Advisors. We've got some great ways to pull 3 to 6 qualified email addresses for you every single day, right? So if you're struggling to build your email database, we've got a very simple service that's going to find 3 to 6 qualified email addresses every day. And you guys, it is so much less expensive than advertising and other tactics. It's only $13 a day. So that's at this point, I think that's probably cheaper than lunch. So would you buy me lunch if I could get you 3 to 6 qualified email addresses every day? Anyway, that's basically what the trade-off is there. If you're interested in learning more about how that works, happy to show you the entire system. Just drop me a direct message and set a little bit of time together so we can go into some details there. Now, before I go, I want to show you right in our CRM. So I'm going to switch. I'm going to share this tab instead on StreamYard. Hopefully this is all working well. So we are in Go High Level. I mentioned earlier, I love this of all the CRMs I've used over the years, and there's a lot of them. I love this for usability. I love it for price point. It does everything you need to do, not a whole lot more. Yeah, it's easy to use, and at a $200 a month price point, it is. It's highly cost effective as well when you compare it to similar platforms like HubSpot or Pardot or these other $1,000 plus platforms in some cases. So I've opened an email here. I think this is an email that I sent out last week, and this went out last Tuesday. I try to get an email out every single Tuesday, and the purpose of this email is really informative and to measure my network. So I forgot with StreamYard, I got to click share this tab. So anyway, here's the email I'm talking about. And what I want to point out in here is, good content. It's all about guide to email marketing for financial advisors. That's a theme we've been running with for some time now. I don't typically get a whole lot of clicks on this scheduled time together, and I'm sure most of you are the same, right? I don't send an email and get people flooding to my calendar. What I do get is this here is a link to the guide. This is a link to the guide, and this is a link to the guide. So if I back out of here, and I'm going to have to flip tabs a little bit again, and load statistics for this particular email. And now I'll share this tab. What I do get from that email, not people booking necessarily, but what I do get from that email is this list. So that email went out to about 15,000 people. We've got about 25,000 people in our CRM. We've been building that for 7 or 8 years, so it does take some time to reach that kind of threshold. But of those people that received and opened the email, 273 people clicked that link. Okay, so now this is where we've got an opportunity to get personal with people, right? So again, I'm going to be going to a different tab, I think. So give me a second. We'll just close this down. No, it looks like we're still on the right tab. So for the people that opened that email, I gave it 48 hours. You can see that went out on May 7th. On May 9th, I sent this email. This is a little bit different in nature. That first one's got a little design element to it. Let me share this tab so you can see what I'm talking about. This is a little different, right? It's got our logo at the top. I could even go without that logo. This is a little more personal. Now, I don't want somebody to think I'm sitting down and sending 273 people an email. It would be a copy and paste job, be a waste of our time anyway, right? So I'm very transparent in here, based on our CRM tracking, which most of the people who follow us and get emails from us know that we are very involved in our CRM. So based on our CRM tracking, I've noticed that you were interested in our recent guide. And then I offer, here's my calendar if you'd like to spend 30 minutes together talking about leveraging your email database for growth. We got 3 calendar meetings booked from that particular link alone. Now, this is a 2-step process. You guys steal it, use it. That initial email that goes out to your whole database, that's about understanding what people are interested in or which people in your database are interested in your topic, and then get more personal on the follow-up of that. So, all right, I am going to stop sharing. Let me try to get back over to StreamYard here. So, that's our little bit of information about email marketing. Excuse me. And the tactics for building your email list. I can't understate the importance of having a good email database. Don't rely on the LinkedIn network. Build your database. This is a marketing asset that's going to help you build your business for years and years to come. I'm always open if you got questions. Schedule 30 minutes on my calendar. Send me a direct message on LinkedIn. Thank you for spending a little time with me. I hope to hear from you. Have an awesome Thursday.